comes to work, if you're not curious, you're likely to not be creative. So when you're asking a lot of questions, it opens up your mind to like more things and more opportunities. If you go in university, people just want to be an A+ student, graduate and get a job. Their mind is not yet open to newer possibilities, newer ideas and everything. So my point is, while you're in university, keep trying different things. Problem that I've seen with how people are doing networking, they are making it obvious that they're just creating networks because they'll need something. That's a very bad way of networking. Networking has to be from a point of creating what we call relationship currents, whereby when you're networking with someone, you need to be genuinely interested in who they are, what they're saying, what they're about. You know what I mean?
You have managed to grow your LinkedIn at the recording of this video at 38,000 followers.
Yeah.
How did you get there, Florence? I want some secrets.
With LinkedIn, what I used to do, I didn't understand it. At first, I just used to get like whatever I posted on Facebook, I would post it on my LinkedIn. Whatever I posted on my Instagram, I would just post it on my LinkedIn and whatnot. But then as time started going by, I started understanding what LinkedIn is all about. Especially when I heard this Mulenga talk about how LinkedIn has helped her in her career growth. She's someone who's taken personal branding very seriously. And this is a whole CEO. You're not even yet CEO and you're already like hey, this one, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, you should see from the great people that have become successful, why are they taking their personal branding very seriously? So anyways, tips on how to grow your
tips, everybody.
Yeah, LinkedIn. The first thing about personal branding,
Hi Florence.
Hi Maka.
Nice to finally have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So just going back, the first time I saw your work, well, this is the first time we're meeting in person.
Yeah.
But the first time that I saw your work was when I was researching about Lupia before I went there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So before I go to
That's exciting.
yeah. So before I go to any organization, I make sure that I search them on YouTube, on Google. I just find out about them, the social media. And then when I searched Lupia, I think I saw a video of you going to interview Evelyn. I think that's the video that I saw.
Yeah, I was a student by then when I went to interview her. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
So I saw the interview and then, who's this person? I went on LinkedIn, saw that you have this big number of followers. Yeah.
The first time I saw your works was when you were designing the background of Lupia.
Lupia.
Yeah, I don't know, you were designing the walls, I don't know.
Yeah, the murals.
Yes. So,
that was for Bongo Hive.
Oh, that was for Bongo Hive?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, really? I thought it was Lupia, but either way, I think I saw that aspect. And then,
I did for Bongo Hive first and then Lupia.
Yeah, so I saw that. Great.
Yeah. No, good to have you, and and also want to congratulate you on winning most inspirational youth of the year in Zambia.
Thank you. Although there's probably thousands of more inspirational youths out there, but thank you so much.
Flowers.
I take them.
Good to finally have you here, and I just want us to talk about just your experience growing up, how life has been, and also how you can also inspire other youths as well. I think that will be very useful even to our listeners. So I just want to go back because everyone has a beginning, everybody has a story.
True.
And growing up, how was Florence? Were you always this motivated?
Overachiever.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Let me describe myself when I was growing up. When I was growing up, I was very curious. I was curious about a lot of things. So I used to ask a lot of questions. And I remember one of the things I used to ask a lot is, but why is it that the boys are treated different than us? Like, I used to ask that question a lot. Like, you know how in the home, they'll be like, oh, you guys can wash the dishes. And then the guys will just sit there like, but why do we get to wash the dishes and they don't get to? So I always used to ask questions that were not asked. So I was a very, very curious person. My mom says that I started reading newspapers when I was 3.
For real?
But
3?
Yes. I don't know how true that is. That is my mom's statement. So I was very, I used to read I wouldn't say I used to read a lot, but I used to read. Yeah, I don't know. I was very curious. Used to ask a lot of questions, and I used to think beyond. I think I used to think beyond. Like when I'm watching TV, I would always ask myself, like, but why can't I be Hannah Montana? Why does she get to be Hannah Montana? So I'd ask myself questions like, but I think I can do that too. I think I would really be happy to do that. I would really be happy to see the world. I would always be curious to say, like, what's beyond our borders, like what's beyond Zambia? So I really had that curiosity in me. I think, yeah. That's what
So it's been there since you were a child.
Yeah, I've always been very curious about life and asking a lot of questions, and I'm glad I still have it because it helps me in my work a lot. Because when it comes to work, if you're not curious, you're likely to not be creative. So when you're asking a lot of questions, it opens up your mind to like more things and more opportunities that you can explore.
Yes, I like the way you put it to say, if you don't ask questions, you won't be very creative.
No, you
I think
won't.
I can also relate, like when growing up as well.
Yeah.
Like I was interested in films. I always wanted to know like who's behind the scenes. How are they able to make this?
Yeah,
I think I used to draw a lot just to know the process of what goes into making these cartoons. When I see SpongeBob on TV, I was just like what did they do? What did they do in order for them to make that?
I can relate with that. I'm always thinking about the behind the scenes. My sisters are always like, why don't you just watch the movie? Because I'm always like, how much do you think they paid those people, the extras in the movie?
The people are just running around in the background.
Like, who are they and how much they pay them? Yeah, true.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up from?
Lusaka. I've grown up in different places within Lusaka. There was a point in time, what I can remember, as far back as I can remember, I think that was like when I was 3. I don't know what happened before 3 or 4. Actually, let's start from 4. Because, because my dad died when I was 4. So at least I remember things after that. But before that, I really can't remember. It's my mom's side of the story. So growing up, so the first home I remember in my head was in Rhodes Park, where my mom was a teacher by a school. So they gave her like the 7th quarter, cottage rather. They gave her that place because she was a teacher at that school. I don't know why she was the only one who was given. There were a lot of teachers. Like,
but she was the only one.
She was the only one who was given that cottage. So it would be like, from school, I just go to the back of the school.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that's where home was. And my mom is someone who, she's a keeper. She loves keeping people. I don't know if that's what you call someone who loves people. But my mom loves people. So I've grown up, in as much as I'm the only child, I've grown up with her siblings. She's kept like almost all her siblings. So, and she has like 8 of them. So I grew up with them but like relating with them as though they were my siblings as well. So we grew up just like that. So from Rhodes Park, we had to move because I think they sold the school. So yeah, we had to move. We started staying. Okay, now it was a whole crazy period in our lives because from Rhodes Park there, Mom was building a house in Garden and it wasn't yet done. And then we had to move from there. So we had to now stay with different people. It was a crazy period. Yeah, there was a point in time we stayed in North Mead, we stayed in Chadley with different people until the house was done. Then we had to move that side. Yeah.
She was still a teacher?
She had to stop because she was keeping a big family. So she felt that she would make a bigger income if she's doing a business. So my mom has been a businesswoman for a very long time. Yeah, so she stopped teaching and she started doing business. But one thing I can say for sure is that her teaching career is what really made me a bit smart. Because she would teach me at home. My mom would make sure I am done with my homework, like, because she's your teacher. You go to school, she's your teacher.
Oh, I see.
So you go at home, right? So she would make sure that I do my homework. she would make sure that I am understanding what I'm studying. So she would like put in so much effort, and I was very young, so she really put in that effort in me.
I remember, like most kids as growing up, like parents never used to like put so much effort into making sure all your kids do your homework, and they would be like fighting a lot with your. With
and
your
I really do. I really do think it's very important, especially from a medical background. There's that period where children develop habits, and if they don't develop a certain habit at a certain period in their life, it's very difficult for them to attain something after, let's say, 7 years, or 8 years, somewhere there. Yeah.
So it becomes more difficult for them to like be smart at some subjects. Find it difficult for them to.
Yeah, but then I'm not saying that they can't be. They can be, but
I'm saying they find it much difficult.
Yes, much difficult as the other child who's grown up studying and reading and everything. So yeah, but of course it's very possible to just like put in the work and just shock the world.
So parents should put more effort into making
they
sure
really have
they're raising
to.
up their children.
Yeah, they really have to, and especially with the period that we're living in, the working mom, the working dad. So they're never really there for their kids at home, but they really have to find a way to make that time, because there's certain things that you won't know about your child if you don't spend time with them.
Only the maid will know.
Yes, and she'll teach her own things, or teach him or her their own things, and that happens too.
Now, fast forward to grade 12, you're about to go to uni. How did you make the decision to go into pharmacy?
Oh, okay. So in grade 12, I used to sit with my best friend. Her name is Jedidiah. So with Jedidiah, she wanted to go to CBU, and she wanted to do medicine. Now, I wanted to do economics, okay? I wanted to do economics, and I think we were just about, I think the two of us wanted to do economics in class. Like, I was so decided that I'm going to do economics. But then I used to spend so much time with my best friend, Jedidiah, and she would talk about medicine for days. I'm just like, she was genuinely like passionate about it and everything. And I was just like, okay, this girl, she seems convincing. Like, what's the same medicine thing? I think let me give it a try and whatnot. So that's how I decided that I'm going to pursue medicine. But then there was an issue. She wanted to go to CBU. I wanted to go to UNZA. But then I was just like, but I want to be with her. So maybe I should go to CBU. But then I was like, no, Florence, you have to stand your ground, at least for one thing. Stay at UNZA. You can't keep following your friend everywhere she goes. So that's how I made the decision. Like, I'm going to go to UNZA, and I'm going to do medicine from there. Yeah. Oh, so now we go to uni? In the story?
Yeah, you go to uni.
Okay, cool. So maybe there was a gap year. There was the gap year, and I got an opportunity to. There was an aunt of mine who was doing her master's in Oxford, and she was alone at that time. She was my aunt-in-law, so she had her and her husband had invited me to, because her husband was in Turkey, she was in Oxford, so she needed help with taking care of the child, right? So she invited me to stay with her for a few months in Oxford. So when I went there, what's weird is that I was in Oxford, and all I was dreaming about was UNZA. Like,
for real?
Till date, I'm always just like, what was that about?
In Oxford, and you're just dreaming about Zambia and UNZA.
I know, I was just thinking about UNZA because maybe like this whole fantasy was created around my head that UNZA is like,
always a thing.
Like. So, but then, anyways, I think everything does happen for a reason. So, I stayed in Oxford for about like 5 months. And for me, it was really such an honor because it wasn't even her I was related to. I was related with the husband, and the husband was in Turkey, but she chose me. Like, for me, that was really such an honor because, like, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would go to England and even stay for a few months, you know, before reaching a certain stage in my life. Because I was like, I finished school when I was 15.
Wow.
So I went
15?
there, yes.
Wow.
So I went there when I was 16. So I went there when I was 16 going into 17.
Yeah.
So what that did for me, I feel it really opened my mind to bigger dreams. You know what I mean? I could see like the people in Oxford, they're literally 10 times ahead of everyone, I think. Like, they're always thinking big. You know, when you ask those people, like, oh, where do you want to work after this? Like, they're not saying small things.
Yeah,
like, oh, no,
big,
I just want to be with World Bank. I want to, what? Like, I'm just like, yeah, okay. And for me, I had just finished school.
Yeah.
So, like, the people I was meeting are people who are doing their masters and their PhD. And it was very inspiring to see. Yeah. So then I came back. And then I went to the University of Zambia. So I went to the University of Zambia to do medicine. But then when it was time to go into the what do you call that? The career that you have chosen and everything in second year. I mean, when going into second year, the results came out and UNZA did its thing. The cutoff point, I think, for medicine was like 10 and I got 7. I was just like, hey, I need to just choose something else here. And then I have my aunt who did pharmacy at Evelyn Horn. So I used to admire how she knew a lot about medicines. Like, I loved, like, you could ask her anything about your condition, about your drugs and everything. She knew everything. So I really admired that. So I was like, you know what? Why not pharmacy? Let me go ahead and do pharmacy. And when I went to do pharmacy at Ridgeway, for me, it was so beautiful. I enjoyed every part of it. Like, I enjoyed every part. Of course, like, when you're finishing, you get tired. Of course, I was tired. At some point, I'm like, when are we leaving? But I really, really did enjoy that. Yeah.
It's also important to travel, maybe leave your country at some point.
For a bit.
Yeah. Maybe I think even just the place that you live in or the compound that you grew up in.
Yeah,
I think exposure is really important.
It really is.
Because sometimes if you live in a community where people don't dream big or anything like that going on, you think that's the only world that there is. But if you travel, get exposure, it really opens your mind up to even
really does.
Makes you dream bigger.
Really does. I remember my first flight, I was so lost. I was so lost. I remember I didn't even know how to put on a seatbelt. So what I did is I waited for the person next to me to see how they are doing it. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me do that. So exposure is so good. It's
very important.
It's very important, yeah.
Yeah. You've told us a story of how you went into pharmacy. It's interesting because like the people that you hang around with influence you in some way, one way or another. I mean, seeing how your friend influenced you into going into the healthcare.
Yeah.
So, which is also important with the people that you surround yourself with, isn't it?
Very important.
So what have you learned from that?
From influence?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, you need to be very deliberate about who is in your life. Very intentional and very deliberate, because their thoughts, their ideas, they really also play a role in your life as well. So yeah, I think that's very important.
No, like you studied pharmacy and you've never had a job where you have to practice that, have you? If I'm wrong.
No.
No. Yeah, but now you're handling like CSR projects. How has that been? How did you move?
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
So here's the thing, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because a lot of people are like, wait, what? Like, you were losing us. So like, what do you mean? Like, everybody's just like, with Florence, you just need to catch up. Okay, so here's the thing. When I was in university, I had the opportunity of volunteering at the Zambia National STEM Foundation. Okay, so the Zambia National STEM Foundation, STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. Okay, so when I used to volunteer at that site, they noticed that I was very active and all of that. So they were like, you know what? How about we bring you into the management team? Okay, and I was in university when they said that. I was like, I think in 3rd year. So they were like, oh no, let's bring you on board into the management team. Before you know it, the executive director was like, can you come up with a project? And I have never come up with a project. Yeah, he was like, can you come up with a project in line with girls in STEM? So I was thinking to myself, but how do I go about this and everything? So I started researching. Okay, how do you design a project? How do you write budgets and all of those things? So I started researching whilst I'm doing school as well, you know. So I was like navigating all of that. So that's how I designed a project called Girls in STEM. And when let's just say when we wrote the proposal and everything, it was sent to United Nations Development Program, UNDP. So when they saw the proposal, they were like, look, we love this, but we only fund projects that have to do with GBV. Okay? So I went and redesigned that project and said, Girls in STEM against GBV. And my backing there was that I'm like, look, when girls are empowered with education, they become financially free. So the levels of gender-based violence are reduced, because mostly GBV comes about when a woman can't afford really like her lifestyle. Sometimes, it's not all the time, but sometimes you find it's because she really maybe can't move away from that marriage, and it's fine. She'll be okay with being beaten. But if you're in a place where, look, why are you beating me? I can afford my own life.
I need to leave.
So I need to leave. Yeah. So the backing there was that, look, this project is going to empower girls with STEM education, and then it will also, this STEM education in turn will give them a career that will support their future and everything. So yeah, we redesigned the project and took it back to UNDP, and they're like, cool. So that's how my first project got funded by UNDP, and it was beautiful. And I remember saying, I do not want girls from Lusaka. I want girls in the rural area. So we got girls from, I don't know if that was Chisamba, I've really forgotten, honestly. And it's not that long, it's not that far back for me to forget, but I just need to go check if it was Chisamba, because I don't want to get that wrong. But we got the girls, I think there were about 70 of them. And then the Ministry of Education came on board and said they will provide buses for the girls to come. It was beautiful. It was just good, honestly. Like everything, it was so beautiful. The girls came, and even how the program was structured, I had indicated less speeches, more fun for the girls. So we had an SDG debate. They had a training on financial literacy. They got to hear about different careers in STEM, like IT, you know, software engineering and stuff. So the time the girls were coming, we did like it was an accidental survey. We were asking them randomly, because I was, you know, I designed the project, so I might as well be part of the MCs.
Put yourself.
Yeah, so I was part of the MCs, and I was just like, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And most of them were saying, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a police officer, and everything. Nothing wrong with that, but you could tell that the girls had not been exposed to other options. So by the time the meeting was done, when we asked them again, I remember the UN even captured this on their pages. When we asked them again, like what they want to do, they're like, oh, I really like the speech from the lady who did IT. I think I would like to do IT as well. I would like their mindset. There was a mindset shift. And for me, I think that's one of the most important things, to really bring about a mindset shift in someone, because that exposure makes them dream like even more and everything. So yeah, that was the first project that I worked on, and then we went on to work on what was being called Women in STEM. After Women in STEM, because now the confidence is just like growing and growing and everything. So some of the projects I didn't design, I just helped to implement. And then there were those that I designed and implemented and everything and stuff. So yeah, because of that project management background, I never removed that off my CV. I made sure it was there because that is project management. Those are big projects. And I was just like, I'm not taking this off my CV. It's there. And if I say 3 years working experience and I've done it for 3 years, then it's 3 years. Yeah. So for me, I was looking at the bigger goal. You know what I mean? Like some projects were not even being paid to do it. But for me, I was looking at the bigger goal because I was enjoying community projects. I was enjoying seeing lives being impacted, lives being changed. Like I was just like, this is what I would want to do for the rest of my life. Working on projects that have an impact in society. The kind of projects where you can see that someone's life has changed. Literally on my CV, it's there. I say that my goal is to empower over 1 million Africans to attain financial freedom through skills development. Wow. So whatever it is that I'm doing has to be in line with empowering young people to achieve or attain financial freedom. And you can only attain this financial freedom when you're educated, when you have skills that can lead you there, and when you are able to be innovative and creative. So whatever I'm doing has to be in line with that. So when people say there was a shift, there was really no shift. When I joined WWF, my focus under WWF were the youths. There are some people till now who tell me to say, we only knew about WWF because of you. And I'm like, don't say that. The company's going to come with me. But I really created that bridge between a big organization and the youths, Whenever they would say, we need young people to volunteer at this event, for me, I was thinking we need young people to be exposed to network with these big giants and create that linkage in that gap that's there. So, for me, I was seeing it as, look, I'm dealing with young people, and this is WWF. It's a big organization. And funny enough, when I was joining, the person who was country director by then, Nachala Nkombo, who's an amazing mentor to me, by the way, she had developed a campaign that they were calling, they were trying to empower 1 million young people to be empowered in the conservation space by 2026. So she was like, you know what, Florence, I know that you could be of help here. So she had made sure that I was connected to the project managers who were in charge of that. And lucky enough, the project manager who was in charge of that by then really gave me the freedom to do what I wanted with that project. So she would tell me to say, okay, Florence, we need consultants for this project. We need this. We need a workshop for the youths for this project. So I would be the one organizing all of those things. And then everybody in the company, because for me, I'm someone who makes my goals known in a company. I will literally tell you that this is what I want from your company. So everybody knew that I was interested in young people. I was interested in the youth empowerment aspect of the organization. So they would make sure that I was brought on board for any youth empowerment part of it, like conservation or whatever it is. So even there was one of the project managers who would ensure that I was working with UNICEF to create projects for young people in the conservation space. So I worked with UNICEF. I did 2 workshops with UNICEF for young people to be empowered in how they communicate their climate change advocacy to the public, because there's a way in which you can communicate and there's a way in which you can't communicate, especially when you're a young person. Sometimes you're considered to be aggressive. So we trained them through, in partnership with UNICEF and everything. So it was really awesome. I had an amazing experience. So even at WWF, I am dealing with projects throughout. Then I shifted to Lupia. Now I'm sure that's where the big question is. You're saying projects. Okay, now I'm going to Lupia. Okay, cool. So for Lupia, when I was offered to work at Lupia, my period at WWF was finishing. It was coming to an end. So I was just like, in as much as I'm into projects, I would like to actually give marketing a chance, because branding is something I genuinely enjoy. I never even used to know that I'm branding myself, because people always say, Florence, how did you brand yourself? How did you build their brand? I didn't even know what it was called. I didn't even know what it was called by then. But then when I discovered that this is called branding and marketing and whatnot, I discovered that I do have a genuine passion for that. So even in my like business aside from work, what I'm mostly dealing with is branding. Yeah. So I decided to say, okay, let me use my business skills into work. Let's see how that balances. Let me join this organization. So when I joined Lupia, it was so beautiful. It was amazing. I'm sure. It was so amazing. It was beautiful, and it's such an exceptional company. Like, it's excellent. So, but then when the opportunity from Yango came, where I'm working at the moment, what they were offering is me handling projects. And remember, community projects were my thing, right? I'm like, wow, community projects in private sector, that's rare. You know what I mean? When a company says they're doing CSR, they would rather use maybe their marketing manager to do CSR. They would rather use the marketing department. They rarely say that they want a specific person for CSR. And I was just like, okay, you know what? CSR it is. And for me, when I looked at the description, it was fitting perfectly well with my passion, because right now I can tell you we are working on a project where we are supporting 30 students in university, different universities. We're supporting them financially, with mentorship opportunities, networking opportunities, everything I've been wanting to do with young people. So for me, it's always been about how am I creating impact, and how is someone's life changing through what I am doing. So yeah, people will be like, how did you shift that? It's always been like that. It's just that maybe they never got to really pay attention to other aspects, right? But yeah, it's always been, you know how Steve Jobs said that the dots connect, you know, as you look back. Yeah, so yeah. Here we are today. Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack from there.
A lot.
So now I get it, because so do you ever look back and say, oh, like my pharmacy?
So I forgot to explain this part. So when you're dealing with STEM, you have to have at least a background in science, because that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I was a STEM girl. I am a STEM girl all the way because of my pharmacy degree. It's just that I'm not using it the way everyone is using it. Everyone else is using it for, obviously, maybe working in a hospital, working in a pharmacy. I'm using my science background in social work. So I don't know if you get it, but then it's difficult for you to really manage STEM if you don't have an understanding of STEM. So for me, I use my background of my science to incorporate it into project management. And that's how you find that I am now able to relate to when someone tells me, oh, I did A plus B and it gave me C. I'm able to understand because I have a science background. So I'm combining my science background with that aspect of project management. Yeah.
So that is helping you a lot.
It really is. No, it's not like, oh, she just packed her pharmacy degree, goodbye. No. No. It's all interconnected. Yeah. It's really all interconnected, and I wish people could see that, because and also I don't want to encourage people to say that, oh, you have to just study this one thing and do that one thing. Like, I hope this will come later on in our interview. Like, you going to university and getting an education is just for you to be able to think a certain way. It's not that that's what you're supposed to do after school. And unfortunately, like, in as much as maybe you and I have been exposed to this side of the world, we take it lightly to say that people know these things. They don't. If you go in university, people just want to be an A+ student, graduate, and get a job in line with what they have studied and everything. So their mind is not yet open to newer possibilities, newer ideas, and everything. So, yeah.
No, there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
There's a lot that has to be done in that area. You can go to any university right now in Zambia. You realize that people are very focused on just what they are studying, and they're not even trying out other things, because to them it's just books. My course in particular is very hard. In fact, if you Google like one of the hardest courses in the world, pharmacy comes on top 10 or top 15. because we have a lot of chemistry to deal with. Chemistry is not the easiest thing.
Chemistry.
It's not the easiest thing. There's math, there's chemistry. So it's not the easiest course to deal with. So someone who would tell me to say I can't manage both university and volunteering or checking out other things, I'll tell you, no, my friend. I had to go through chemistry and math and everything and still did these other things that I'm doing. So that is an excuse. I do get there some courses like obviously medicine where you have to be at the hospital ward maybe 24/7 of your life. Maybe that's a bit complicated or a bit difficult. But even pharmacy, we had to go to the ward, but it's not as obviously as hectic as the people doing medicine. But my point is, while you're in university, keep trying different things because you never really know what you will never really know what you're good at until you've tried a lot of things. So people are so big on being stuck in one area without knowing what they could do in other areas.
Yeah.
We have amazing doctors who are amazing graphic designers at the same time.
Yeah.
We are living in a generation where you can't afford to just know one thing.
Yeah.
You can't afford to
There's
just know
too much
one
information out there.
Exactly. If you come to the office where I'm working, like I share my office with people from marketing, and I'm always hearing their meetings like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and I'll be there like, let's do it like this, let's do it, because I'm learning like how far the marketing can go. I'm learning about influencer marketing. I'm learning about social media marketing a bit more. So you find that if a company approaches me to say, can you help us with our marketing? I already know how marketing is done for a big corporate, for a big institution, for a small institution, for a startup and everything. Like I've made sure that my mind is exposed to different things and I'm able to do things that are beyond my work. So anyway.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. Even as you are learning, don't just focus on one thing.
No, don't
focus on one thing.
You could be a graphics designer, but what else are you doing?
What else are you doing?
What else are you doing? Because
people complain of time.
If you want to be an amazing graphics designer, you have to understand different aspects of people's problems or whatever. Like you have to be exposing your mind to more things for you to design something amazing, right? So what I'm saying is that, of course, it's really good to be like very good at one thing and be focused at it, but at least have at least 2 or 3 other things going on. Don't make it too hectic because now you're just going to make your life complicated. Just find that message was for people who are still discovering themselves. There are people who already know what they're good at. You know that you're good at videography. You know that you're good at maybe doing podcasts. You know that you're good at graphics design and photography and whatnot. So now you know where to focus your energy. But there are people who they have not yet discovered what they're really good at. Those are the people that I'm talking to. The ones that need to try everything until they find those 3 things that work for them and then now focus their energy on those 3 things.
Yeah, I think also takes me back to the book by Sir Ken Robinson. It's called Element. It's all about finding your element. So he also talks about, he passed away I think in 2021. He also used to talk a lot about schools being able to provide an environment where people are able to discover what they're good at.
Exactly.
Because each one of us has something in us that we are passionate about.
We have an
But if you don't try out different things, you never discover that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's really important.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And it helps you live in your purpose.
Very much. You will be excited to wake up every day to go for work. And that's the best part about it. Even like my story as well, like I feel I'm glad like I'm in this field, I'm in this creative space. And it's always a joy for me to wake up to say, I'm always excited for Monday.
Exactly.
And people always surprised, like, why are you always excited on Mondays? No, I'm energized. I just rested. Last week was hectic, but I love what I was doing. And it's Monday, I'm back.
Exactly. Right?
You were, in 2024, you were named the most inspirational youth in Zambia in 2024. How did that feel when your name was announced?
Backstory on that. I didn't even know I was nominated or anything like that. I had no idea. They called me a day before the awards. I just received a call from What's that guy's name? I've forgotten, but he called me and was like, "Hi, I'm from Diamond TV, and you've been nominated for Most Inspirational Youth Award." And I'm just like, I thought it was a prank. I remember I even shared this on my social media. I'm like, I thought it was a prank, right? But yeah, as the conversation was going further, he seemed more serious. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is getting serious. And my colleague from marketing was like, I told her, I'm like, oh, I've been nominated for a Diamond TV Award. She was like, oh yeah, Yango has also been nominated for a Diamond TV Award. I guess we should go together. I'm like, yeah, we should.
Definitely should.
Definitely. So that's how we went for the awards. And when I got there, I realized that other people were nominated as well in that category. Because I was thinking, I'm like, for them to call me, maybe I'm the only one in the category.
Yeah.
Then when I got there, there were other people. I'm just like, I think this is the part where we just go home. Because I didn't even know that there was this. What if people were voting and stuff? I'm just like, oh no, actually, he mentioned to say this category, they were not voting. The committee had sat down to select.
Yeah.
So that's how, when they called my name, I was like, oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
But then how did I feel about it? I felt like there's so many inspiring youths in Zambia. I won't lie to you. Like, I've gotten the privilege of working with a lot of young people. And I know that there's so much talent. There's so many people doing beautiful things, amazing things. Recently, we lost Dora. I don't know if you heard about Dora. She was keeping 500 kids. You know what I mean? There's a girl I know, Sabetha. She's like taking care of a lot of young girls, providing them with reusable pads. There's just like so many impactful youths. Like, I can't mention them name by name because this will now become an advertising platform. But like, young people are doing amazing things. The ones I know, they're doing amazing things. So to win that award for me, it's I didn't win it for me. I think I won it for them. Like, this award kind of showed that the world is seeing what young people are doing. It wasn't about me just being selected and winning and whatnot. It kind of showed to say, look, in as much as we award celebrities, we award musicians and artists and all those people, we are also seeing the young people who are not necessarily musicians or celebrities. We're seeing their works in the background. So for me, that award was meant for young people to know that their works are being seen, their works are being heard. Just because I was chosen doesn't mean that they're not seeing other people's works. But for me, it was a sign of we are seeing and we are hearing, and so for me, it was young people are being seen and they're being heard.
But it's so selfless.
You're
doing amazing work, and I think there's a lot of people just working in the background, and to hear Dora's stories. It was really heartbreaking.
Very. Like, no one has healed from that. Like, we're all just thinking about that.
What mindset do you think young people should adopt to make a meaningful impact in their career?
The mindset they need to adopt. They need to be forward thinking. Don't just think about now. I think there's a very huge problem about just like now. People rarely think about, okay, what's happening in the next 5 years? What's happening in the next 10 years? How will society be thinking in the next 10 years? What will be relevant to humanity in the next 5 years? So they need to be forward thinking. And then they need to, there was that aspect that I mentioned. I always say this. If you haven't yet found what you're good at, try everything and anything until you find what works for you. Because you won't know by just doing one thing. Just go and try. There's a period where you will be stressed trying to find that one thing, but it's worth it than not trying at all. Because I know that people will tell you, but you're all over the place. They'll be like, why are you all over the place? You're just doing everything and anything. But it's fine until you actually find what works for you. A lot of young people that are in the spaces that I've worked in that are thriving right now, we were together when we were trying everything and anything, until each one of us found what we were good at. And now we're all in our different spaces doing different things because we learned what we were good at back in the days. We used to volunteer a lot. I volunteered a lot. A lot. I really volunteered a lot for different things until I found what I was literally passionate about and what I'm good at. And I decided to now stick to that path. And that's what my friends have also done. So young people need to try everything and anything until they see what works for them, and they need to be forward thinking. And then also creativity doesn't just come by. You need to expose yourself to a lot of things for you to know that this is what works in business. You won't just learn it in the books. You have to go and try to see what actually works in business and what doesn't work in business. So you need to be exposed to certain things. So for example, if it's your career that you want to thrive in, if it's business you want to thrive in, if it's career-wise, you need to obviously, both business and career-wise, you need to network. You need to open up your doors, because people are like, no, I just want my inner circle, small circle. We all have an inner circle. We all have a small circle. We all have people that we trust and we talk to and everything. But you need to expand the people you know. And then the problem that I've seen with how people are doing networking is that they are making it obvious that they're just creating networks because they'll need something. You know what I mean? That's a very bad way of networking. Networking has to be from a point of creating what we call relationship currency or relationship capital. I don't know what to call it, but it's called relational currency or something, whereby when you're networking with someone, you need to be genuinely interested in who they are, what they're saying, what they're about. You know what I mean? It's not just about you wanting something.
Like,
you know, I come
what can
to
I get
you
from that person?
I come to you, Mark, and I'm already like, what do you design for me?
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
what you want.
Without even knowing who you are, like I don't even know what you're all about. That's a very bad culture that I've seen in networking, and unfortunately, the results show that sort of networking does not work at all.
It doesn't
because now when you reach out to me, I'm just like, what does he want? Or what does she want? But then if it's someone who took their time to actually know me and create that relationship, of course, you're not creating friends per se, but you're genuinely taking the time to know certain people, right? So for me, I feel like in as much as I'm advising people to network, let them do it the right way. I think that has really given me really solid and sustainable networks because I got the time to know these people. Before I would meet certain people, I would read their book. I would read their story. I would read what they're all about, you know, before I actually engage with them. By the time I'm engaging with this person, my questions are coming from a point of, I've read about you and I know your interests and this and that and that. And also an aspect of networking that people miss out on is be the first one to offer a service, you know. For example, if I want to network with you, Marka, I should be able to try and make your life a bit easier because you're going to remember me for that. Unlike if the first thing I come for is me needing something from you, right? But if the first thing that I come to do with you, Maka, is like, oh, Maka, do you need help? Like, do you need assistance in, I don't know, you know what I mean? Do you need help in some of these videos that you do and everything? I'm good at editing. Can I help you with the editing part? But they're like, I'm not sure. But anyways, just me being of help to you, you remember to say, that girl or that boy, he didn't just want something from me. He actually wanted to help me out. When you are trying to network with someone, offer something. Tell them, okay, let me buy you a pen. Let me buy you a book. Let me buy you this. Before you know it, the person's like, but why did she buy me a pen? Why did she buy me a book? Before you know it, you become memorable to that person as compared to someone who just went to ask for things.
Asking for help.
So asking for help is not a problem, but ask for help when the relationship is stabilized, you know? So that's the sort of networking that people need to be doing. Don't just like get people's numbers.
What can I get from you? Or what do you do?
Exactly. So for me, I feel like people need to create genuine relationships.
Nice.
Yeah.
Again,
so-
a lot to unpack from there. I think I've also learned that you need to make the work easy for the person that you want to ask from. Especially
Yes.
people who are very busy, who are well known. There's thousands of people and messages of people
Yeah.
asking what they can take from them.
Yeah,
Can you offer me a
exact-
job?
yeah,
Can you offer me a
exactly.
job? But what are you bringing to the table? That
Yeah.
should be the question.
Exactly.
You need to make also their work easy as well.
Easier, yeah.
Again, don't go for something that they are already doing again. Don't go for something that they're already doing.
Yeah.
Find something which can make their work more easy.
Yeah, what unique thing are you offering? What are you bringing to the table? For example, maybe a recommendation letter, right? Maybe you said something about making their lives easier. Let's say you've already networked with this person, you've worked with them, now you need a recommendation letter from them. Like, you need to be able to guide them on how the letter should be. Like, don't stress people. You know what I mean? Like, you want a recommendation letter, like, tell them how the layout should be like. If possible, type and tell them, edit what you need to edit.
Yeah, remove what you have to remove.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
because like people are busy and they're genuinely busy. Make their lives easier and you'll be memorable to them.
That's a really important thing that has also like helped me. I think in as much as possible to like trying to provide value to other people. And not just thinking about what can I take from you. Genuinely know the person, know what they're all about. They'll remember you. Other than just going to them and, surface level discussions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
I think that's a really good mindset, and I think a lot of young people need to adopt that.
Yeah.
If you want to succeed in anywhere, your career, things won't just fall on your plate. Yeah. Now thinking about the things that you've been able to do, you've accomplished a lot of things. Speaking at global events. What role do you think God has played in your life?
Mwaka, I am nothing without God. That I can assure you of. Before 2019, I knew that God was there. I even used to read my Bible sometimes, and I would go to church, but I didn't have a personal relationship with God. I didn't know that you can actually talk to Him. I knew you could talk to Him, but like I didn't know that you can have a father-daughter relationship, and all of those things that you get to discover when you get saved. So in 2019, I went to an amazing church called City of the Lord Church, and the way they preached the word of God at that church was just so fascinating to me. I had never heard the word of God preached that way, and it was there was so much energy in the church. It was full of young people. The music was great. The testimonies were powerful. So I was so intrigued, I really wanted to know more about this God. Like, why are people so zealous and why are they so enthusiastic about this God? Like, why are they showing up at church every Sunday and every Wednesday? Like, what is it about this God that I'm missing, right? So that's how I joined the City of the Lord Church, and from then on, it's been such an amazing journey for me because I got to encounter the Holy Spirit, and there's a certain confidence that came within me that was not there, and I feel like the more you draw near unto God, the more He gives you direction on where you're supposed to be going, because that confidence that I didn't have before, when I had it, there are certain doors in my life that opened because of that that direction that came from God and everything. So I genuinely do believe that without God, we really can't really do much or live in our purpose, because we really wouldn't see what our purpose is without God's direction. So for me, I believe that we need God at every aspect of our journey, at every chapter, every level. We just all need God. Like, I wouldn't be where I am without God. That's for sure. There's so many times where people have asked me, but how did you do this? How did you get in those spaces? How did you get in these rooms and everything? There's certain things I can't explain because it's very divine. I would be seated in a room of 20 people and I'm the one who's being picked out to say, tell us about you. You've gotten the opportunity. And someone would be wondering, but this girl, she didn't even say anything. Like,
what's up? What's going on? Yeah.
So there's really divine grace that comes when you're with God. So for me, I think that has really kept me grounded and rooted, and it gives me direction and focus. Yeah.
Nice. So faith in God faith plays a huge role in your life.
A huge role. It
has given you gives you confidence
and purpose.
And purpose.
Above everything else, purpose. Because imagine living your life doing what you do just for you. Okay, Mwaka, you've attained all the wealth. You are now the wealthiest man on the planet. You have everything you want. You have your luxurious cars, your luxurious homes and everything. Then what? Then what is supposed to happen after that? You die and you leave everything behind. So with God comes purpose. He's going to guide you to say, I created you so that you can be a vessel to these other people. I created you so that you can open doors for those other people. I created you so that people should know God through you. There has to be something more to life than just attaining wealth and everything you've ever wanted. That is just that some things that just matter to you, what I mean? But with God, that sense of purpose and direction comes, you no longer do things just for you. You do them because you're a vessel of God and there are things that you have to do for other people while it's just still alive. There's a TikTok video that I watched and someone was saying, remember, the only thing you can carry to heaven is other people. You can't carry anything else.
Can't carry anything.
So if you were not doing anything for other people, or introducing them to God or helping the poor or anything like that, then when you get to heaven, it's just about you. What kind of a life are you living? So we must be very selfless, and that comes with God.
Yeah, and I think when you're serving God, it really makes you very selfless. Don't just be about you, but to be about other people.
Love your neighbors, you love yourself.
And also just the confidence, the faith that you have. Even though you're doing something, you're not seeing results today. When you have faith, you know that one day it's going to happen. But if you don't,
for sure,
you're hopeless about your future and everything.
There's no hope.
There's no hope. It really crushes you.
And the theme for our church is bringing hope to the hopeless.
Nice.
And which is really, really great.
You have managed to grow your LinkedIn at the recording of this video at 38,000. 38,000 followers. How did you get there, Florence? I want some secrets.
That's just hit 1,000. You're not even into social media. I don't even know why you're saying that. I've noticed that you're not into social media.
You're not into social media.
I haven't seen you being active. It's only now that you started a podcast. But
so give me some tips as a beginner. I just hit 1,000.
So, congratulations. So proud of you.
Thank you so much.
So proud. So, how did we get to 38,000? I told you in the beginning, I didn't even know what branding was. I didn't know that there was personal branding and whatnot. I only learned that from actually Mr. Dumisani. I used to watch his videos a lot in 2022. I don't know, sometime back before he even became like very known, I used to watch his Facebook videos and he would talk about networking, personal branding, things I had never heard in my life. So when I watched his video about personal branding, I was like, oh, so this is what it's called. So the way you position yourself, not just on social media, but also in reality, you're building a personal brand. The same way a company builds its brand, you're also building your personal brand. So with LinkedIn, what I used to do, I didn't understand it before. At first, I just used to get like whatever I've posted on Facebook, I would post it on my LinkedIn. Whatever I've posted on my Instagram, I would just post it on my LinkedIn and whatnot. I didn't understand how it worked back then. I was just doing that. But then as time started going by, I started understanding what LinkedIn is all about. I started understanding, oh, this is a professional platform and this is meant to grow your career. It's meant for people within the spaces you want to grow in get to see your work, It opens doors for business. It opens doors for career growth. It opens doors for things that make money in your life. And for me, the way I saw LinkedIn was when I network with you, Mwaka, let's say you're the CEO of some big multinational bank or some big whatever company out there, right? When I network with you, you will not be able to see what I am all about. You won't be able to see my work. But if I connect with you on LinkedIn and I share my works, automatically you will know what I do. And if your company ever needs someone who offers the service I offer, they will think of me.
The first person that comes to mind.
Exactly. So that's what we call personal branding, right? So positioning yourself for the right people to see you, but also for you to see what other people are also doing. Because for you to dream bigger, remember we talked about learning more about other people, exposure. So for me, I started seeing LinkedIn that way. I'm like, wait, I need to take this platform very seriously. It's not just for glitz and glamour or anything like that. It's serious business out here. And unfortunately, people, they get irritated when other people post their achievements, but then they know who they are targeting. They know who's supposed to see all that. So they're not just doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it to say, okay, my next 10 years look like this. How do I position myself? Especially when I heard Mrs. Mizinga Melu talk about how LinkedIn has helped her in her career growth. You know, she's someone who's taken personal branding very seriously, and this is a whole CEO.
And I can see her doing videos now.
Exactly, and you're not even yet CEO, and you're already like wondering, hey, this one, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, you should see from the great people that have become successful, why are they taking their personal branding very seriously? That should make you ask questions to say, okay, why is this important? And why are they taking it seriously? So when you get to sit down with them, you get to understand that this is what it's done for them, and this is what it's still doing for them, and this is why they're still doing it. So anyways, tips on how to grow your
tips, everybody.
Yeah, LinkedIn. But what I do, like part of my side hustles, is I help people build their brands on LinkedIn, and just even small startups, companies and whatnot. I do help with their branding and whatnot. So I'm not going to share all the tips. I'm just going to
behind the camera is off.
Some tips. Yeah, it's okay. These people can know. The first thing about personal branding, you need to understand where you're going. And a lot of people don't really understand where they're going. And you need to take a step back to understand where you're going, because if you don't understand where you're going, you're going to feel like you're just all over the place. But you need to understand where you're going. So for example, if your goal is to grow in project management, then you want your LinkedIn to be focused on projects, which is what my LinkedIn was focused on when I was growing my career. I used to post about all the projects I was doing with Zambia National STEM Foundation. Like, I would make sure every project I worked on was on my LinkedIn, you know, and that has really, really gotten me opportunities beyond and above my wildest dreams. I remember I got my first speaking engagement outside the country through LinkedIn. I was invited to speak at the Women in Engineering conference in South Africa just after I had finished university. Like I finished university on I think on a Tuesday or something. Wednesday I was flying out for my speaking engagement, and that happened through LinkedIn. They read about me on LinkedIn. They heard about me on LinkedIn. That was a Women in Engineering, not in pharmacy, not in STEM, but in engineering. But why did they call me? Because they had seen what I was doing in STEM, and engineering is part of STEM. So the world will hear about you based on what you share with them. Sometimes people may not necessarily know what you're doing if you don't share it with them. So for me, that's how it helped me. So I started positioning myself for that, saying, okay, look, I'm into speaking engagements, and this is how I'm going to position myself. I'm into this is how I'm going to position myself. So you need to take a step back and start understanding yourself. But it's okay if you're still not yet at a point where you understand yourself. It's fine. Go ahead, but at least keep the activity going on. And with LinkedIn, the way it is, I'm lucky enough that at this point, as we are speaking, my LinkedIn grows organically. I don't know if it's called organically, but it grows on its own. Because there's just a way LinkedIn is designed where people can just see your works, even though you're not very active and whatnot. And that's what I like about it. You don't need to be active like every week, every month. I need to do. Just take it easy, you know, at your own pace. You know, you got promoted and you don't want to share it right now. Fine, share it 2 months later or 3 months later. But just make sure you're building a portfolio online. Because where I work, they get candidates based off their LinkedIn because we have international HR. So if HR wants to know more about what you've done, they're going on your LinkedIn, they're checking, is this person genuine? Is this person actually working? Does this person have anything going on? So people, especially international recruiters, that's what they use to really, exactly, to really know what this person is up to and how they are faring in their country and whatnot. Especially if you want to go onto global spaces and everything, your work has to be at least out there. It doesn't have to be all your work, even just 2 or 3 things, just to give people. I remember I have a friend who was not even very active on LinkedIn, but at least she used to update a few things, and she got an international job because they got to see what she's up to, even in the little things that she shared. So just keep it active, keep it going, but make sure that you're slowly understanding yourself, even as you're sharing information, because don't get people confused.
Yeah,
you
like
know,
what do you do?
If I come to you, Mwaka, at least I know what I'm coming for. But if I come to you and I'm confused, I'm like, Mwaka, I don't really know. Like, then there's a problem there. I think I had that thing going on at some point where people are like, but what do you really do? So for me, I started positioning myself in the line of projects, like projects and brand strategy. Like, let's stick to projects and brand strategy. Everything else should fall under that. If you're calling me for a speaking engagement, it has to do with either branding or the projects, STEM-related projects, or climate change-related projects, or community projects, rather. So it has to be either with branding or community projects or education. Like, at least people should know that, okay, this is what you have to offer, and this is what you have to bring to the table. So basically, just people understanding themselves, keeping their engagement growing, and being deliberate about it. Also, you are someone who knows a lot about branding. How you position your visuals matters. Yeah, I've seen people post like blurry photos. I'm like, what are we doing? No, we cannot be doing blurry photos on LinkedIn. So be intentional about your visuals, your elements. How are you putting your wording and whatnot? When you're posting something, always think about the reader. It's not about you. It's about how will people read what I'm trying to say. A lot of people will post paragraphs with big words. I'm not gonna read those big words. I'm just gonna scroll up. But if it's positioned in a way whereby even a reader out there who doesn't know what your industry is all about can understand, you find that it grows your traction also, because now people can easily understand. That's why TikTok is a very big platform. A lot of people are on TikTok because they can easily get the information in 30 seconds,
in 30 seconds,
you know, because people's attention span is very low. So on LinkedIn, at least we have people who read and like they actually take some time to read. Like that's the only social media platform where people actually take time to read and even give feedback according to what they've read. So make sure that your wording is something that people can understand. It's not something that to show off that you know things. No, like make sure people are reading and understanding, and the visuals are good. And also always ask people for their feedback as well. Not always, but sometimes. Make sure that that post that you're doing is not just about you. It's about also getting feedback from people. Okay, so what do you think about this that has happened? Or what do you think about this video that I've shared? What are your thoughts? What are your comments and everything? Like, have people interested in what you're doing, because whenever you're posting, it's not just about you, it's about the reader as well. So even as you are ending your statement, make sure that people are engaged and they are capable of giving feedback to what you've posted and whatnot. So
those are some tips. Sounds like you shared everything, but
no.
I know you shared them off
It
camera.
Was just quarter.
Okay. So Florence, so this is Do It. So we're not just all about talking. We put every person that I sit with, put them to the test and see they really know what they do, so that they can share practical
tips. You really
tips.
know your job.
Yeah, if you really know your job. Yeah. So so we're going to jump into this project. So this is going to be a simple STEM education campaign for a rural community. So we're going to just draft a campaign. And from start to finish, though it's going to be very short, it won't be very extensive. It's going to be a short one. So, yeah, so we get into it. I have a few things that we're going to focus on.
Okay.
And then we're going to come up with that campaign together.
Okay.
Here you go. You're the professional.
Yes, let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the rural project, we have to find the key message, the activities that are going to take place, then how is the community going to get involved, then lastly,
how do you measure the impact?
Yes, of course.
Wow.
Okay.
You know, we're given like days to come up with this.
And we're coming in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. This is not 15 minutes, this is like 2 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this.
Okay. What we've forgotten here is what is the name of our project.
Oh yeah, the name of the project.
So where do I put the name? Okay, I can put it as a heading here.
Yeah, just put it as a heading.
So
yeah, go ahead.
We're saying that we need to name the project. I was thinking STEM Gone Rural. STEM Gone Rural. I can write that?
Yeah.
But my handwriting, yours.
You should see mine. Have you seen mine?
Gone Rural. We said we are only focusing on girls we're focusing on girls or boys as well?
No, girls.
Just girls?
Just girls.
Okay, so STEM Gone Rural. Key message.
Yes. So what is the core message of the campaign?
Okay, what are we trying to achieve? So maybe we want them to learn how to use computers, because a lot of people in the rural areas don't know how to use computers. So maybe our key message is should be empowering. Should I use capital letters or empowering girls?
That's fine.
Okay. Empowering girls in tech. Let's just say in tech. Okay? Empowering girls in tech. Then the activities that they will be doing for them to get good at using computers is maybe every Saturday they'll be having maybe computer lessons, right?
Okay. Computer lessons.
And then during those meetings on Saturdays, they'll be given assignments. So meaning these guys will have to carry tablets home. Like we're using computers, but for them to do the assignments, we're giving them tablets. Yeah. Right? And
so those tablets will be provided.
Yes, we're gonna give them, since we're rich in this project. It's imaginary, so we can give them tablets, but then they'll need internet. So maybe plus MiFi. Do you think MiFi works like everywhere? Like how does that work?
Yeah, they do.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So computer lessons, assignments as well, and then community involvement. So now these girls will be going back to teach their fellow friends on what they learned during these lessons. So let's say we've only selected 30 girls. These 30 girls need to go back to their classrooms to share their information with their classmates, right? So let's just say community involvement. The girls share knowledge with their peers. I'm sorry you won't be able to see my handwriting, but I hope you get to see it.
Yeah. No, I can
All right. So now how do we measure impact? Do you know that this is one of the most difficult things to do in project management? Measuring impact.
Yeah.
So how do we know that we have achieved our goal? So first of all, assignment completions. Assignment completion. Did they achieve all of the assignments? The second thing that we need to look at is these lessons. Are they able to put them into practice? So were they able to put these lessons into practice? So meaning this will be seen through our meetings.
Yeah.
So are they able to put it into practice? But to put it into practice. to practice. And then the third one is how many people did they share that information with? So how many people did they share? What did they share? What they learned with? Now, from measuring this impact, since this organization that we're dealing with has a lot of money, so out of these 30 girls, were we able to at least provide, these are young girls, right? We needed to come up with an age group. So let's say 15 to 25. Okay. So out of what we've done, are we able to provide scholarships for even at least 10 of them in the future?
Yeah.
Okay. These are tech scholarships because maybe our company is tech based. So this has to be a KPI that has to be achieved over the years so that this project is ongoing.
Yeah.
Done. STEM gone rural.
STEM gone rural. I like that. I like the title.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this also sounds like so current and up to date Gen Z.
Yeah,
but it makes sense.
Project. Yeah, these days, whatever you're doing, make sure that if you're dealing with Gen Zs, it's a catchy name, it's exciting, and this is something that people want to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mwaka. I enjoyed this.
Great. Florence, I have one last question for you. What advice would you give to someone who wants to do it in their field?
Number one, I mentioned to say I'm nothing without God. You need to really seek God in all of this because it's very easy to be living in the wrong direction, to be going the wrong way simply because you haven't sought counsel from God. So you really need to be praying about your future, your purpose, and your career and everything. Number two, faith without works is dead, right? So in as much as you're praying, in as much as you're having that faith, you need to be working towards it. So I liked what my pastor said recently. He said that if you don't pause, life will pause you. So you need to be taking those times where you take those reflections, like, am I going in the right direction? And if I'm going in the right direction, am I achieving what I want to achieve? So those moments of reflection are very, very important. You need to take a step back and analyze to say, is this really working out? Because people are just going in a cycle, you know what I mean? The cycle just keeps going and going. And before you know it, it's like 10 years later and you're doing the same thing over and over again. And that's why he said that if you don't take a pause, life will pause you on its own. So you need to be taking breaks to understand, am I really achieving the vision that I want to achieve? Am I still passionate about things I was passionate about 2 years ago? So yeah, it's okay for you to rebrand yourself. That is your life. It's fine for me to rebrand myself, but then I need a strategy to rebrand myself. So for me to come up with that strategy, I need to take a pause and re-understand myself. So life is about learning and relearning and learning and all of those things. So it's not a book that there's no book to show you to say, okay, now do this, now jump, now what? There's no book that does that, right? The best book, obviously, that guides us is the Bible. But what I'm trying to say is that you need to first of all, seek counsel from God. Secondly, you need to ensure that you're taking moments of reflection. And thirdly, after you're done with reflecting and whatnot, you need to go in, you need to go in full time. You need to push for your dreams so hard that you'll be proud of yourself. Because sometimes people do things half-heartedly. And that's very unfortunate, because if you want to achieve something great, you need to go all in or not at all.
No.
And in order to do that, you remember you've sought counsel from God, you've reflected, and now you're saying, okay, time to now go all in. Don't give up on that dream. I remember the time when I knew that I wasn't going to be working in a hospital or a pharmacy, right? But I had my pharmacy degree, and I told you that it's worked for me in other places. A lot of people would come to me to say, Florence, you need to now write your HPCZ exams so that you get that license and start working in the hospital. But then few people understood where I was going. And if I didn't understand where I was going, I would have taken that 1 year that they're talking about to now intern and get that license and start practicing in a hospital, practicing in a retail pharmacy and whatnot. But because God had already guided me and I understood where I was going, it wasn't about me convincing you, Mwaka, to say that, no, guys, this is my direction. People need to see results for them to be convinced. So stop talking and start doing. You know what I mean? Stop just blabbing about and say, no, this is what I want to do. And what? Just do it. Do it. It's fine to talk about it, but don't spend so much time talking about it. Go and work hard and let the results show. Because wisdom is seen through results. I can be sharing with you knowledge and concepts on how to grow plants, but if my plants are not growing, then that's just me talking and just blubbering and whatnot. But then if I'm teaching you how to grow a plant and it's actually growing, then those results are speaking for me. Trust me, if Elon Musk was broke, no one was going to listen to him. But because there are results from his knowledge, his experience, and the works that he's doing, everybody's just like, oh my gosh, I want to be like Elon Musk. But if he didn't have results and he was just talking, oh, SpaceX, we're going to go to Mars, everybody will just be like, what is he talking about? But because his results are speaking for him, now people want to learn from him. They want to hear from him. So people need to focus more on results and less talking. Right? So yeah, like if you're gonna go all in and work hard for that dream and be excellent at what you do. Daniel in the Bible, right? One of the fascinating things about Daniel is that he was excellent in every what do you call it? It's called every reign, like every kingdom that came, like whoever was ruling at that particular time would hear about Daniel. You know, every ruler who came would be like, Daniel, come and interpret my dreams. Daniel, come and do this. Why? Because he was so excellent. God made him so exceptional to the point that he was capable of understanding the mindsets of like different kings and all of that. He was able to interpret dreams and all of that. So he was so excellent at what he did. Even Joseph, like he was given to run an entire foreign nation, a nation that he was not even part of. Why? Because he was very excellent at what he was doing. And of course, it was because of the favor of God. But when the favor of God is upon you, what are you doing as Mwaka, like out of that favor? Like God can pour out favor on you, but what are you doing to be able to enable that favor to actually work for you? So you need to actually be doing something. I remember my aunt told me that 0 times 0 is 0, and let me explain. So, no, this is 0 plus 0. I think 0 times 0. Yeah, anyways, let's do 0 times 0. So she says 0 times 0 is 0. I hope I've gotten the math correct. But what she was trying to say is that God can come and give you everything that you need. But then if you don't have anything going on, it won't multiply. You can have so much potential within you, but it can't multiply if you're not doing anything in your capacity as Mwaka. So right now, let's say you run a business for plants, right? It's just an example. And God comes with his favor upon you. This business is going to be fruitful and it will multiply. Now imagine God blesses you with favor to grow in the business world or in your career and whatnot, but then you don't have anything going on. It will just stay. So it's up to us also to work hard and really multiply what we have, and we must do it with excellence, because excellence speaks for us. You know, if you're going to stand before kings and queens, you need to be excellent. You need to pay attention to detail. Unfortunately, I've seen people whereby they've been given all the privilege to say, okay, we're giving you this position, we're giving you all of these things, but they don't do it with excellence, and unfortunately you can't stay for that long at the top if you don't carry excellence with you. And that's why the hardships that we go through in life really build us to become so excellent that when that time comes for your promotion or your uplifting, you're already good at what you do. Like no one needs to come and tell you to say your designs, like you need to study more or anything. Like you're already good at what you do. All they're doing is just telling you, okay, just change this and change that, because you're already good at what you do. You were good at what you do even before you were being paid to do what you do. So yeah.
A lot of people need to hear this message, especially when you're growing in your career. You have to have something going on. You don't have to wait for everything to be presented to you on a silver platter.
Exactly.
God will only bless you if you're doing something by the side.
Exactly.
Because if there's nothing,
multiply what
I think, because I think if for every number that you multiply by 0, it gives you 0. That's why if God gives you 50 and you have 0, it will be equals to 0.
Yes, so it was the times.
Yeah, so the times,
It was good math. So at least if there's 1,
there's
2 times 1, at least it's 2.
Yeah, so even if you have 1, gives you 50, it's going to be 50.
Yeah. So you need to be also pushing because God does not promote laziness. He hates laziness. Even in Proverbs, he highlights that multiple times. He doesn't like laziness because it does not represent him. Yeah.
Whoever shall not work will not eat. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jedidiah, for coming through.
You called me by my name, Jedidiah. A lot of people struggle with that.
Oh, yeah? And I was telling the guys before you came, is it Jedidiah? And they were like, no, I think it's Jedidiah. So I said the correct.
Yeah, you
Oh,
did.
nice.
So
proud of myself. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming through. This has been a very great conversation, and I hope to have you again. I think there's a lot of things that we need to talk about.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this podcast and looking forward to watching it.
Yeah, definitely. You see it. So one last thing, where can people find you?
On LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn, Florence, Jedidiah, Mulenga. Yeah, I always accept people's connections. Like I don't ignore people's connections. When they send me a connection, I will accept, and you can just like inbox me. Inbox me on Facebook, inbox me on Instagram, inbox me on LinkedIn. I will always respond, unless you're just telling me hi. I can't do anything about a hi. You just tell me what you want us to do, what you want to be done, and everything. And something was fascinating about that happened when the first time I wanted to host, we didn't talk about my show, but anyways, when I wanted to host Jito Kayumba, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to reach you. He was like, no, you're lying. If you inbox me on Instagram, I'm going to respond. If you inbox me on Facebook, I'm going to respond.
Oh, really?
So I will respond. I'm also that person, like I'm gonna respond. It's my social media. I have it in my hands. I will see your message. Unless obviously maybe we're not connected. But I usually accept people's connections so that they can easily send me a message. Yeah. So Florence, Jedidiah, Mulenga.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.